Hello, I'm Captain Stromberg, and today we're going to look at some loops and multitasking inside of loops. And what I have here is a very simple follow the line program, and that's this little piece of code right over here. And all it's doing is looking at the light, and it's adjusting the steering, and actually I need to connect that right here, based upon the light value. And then it goes back and it loops and it keeps following the line by keep doing that. Down here is our little exit code, and what it's looking for here is very simple. It's just looking to see if the push button is pushed, and if that's true, then it'll exit the code. I'm just using a little bit of a count here to see how many times it goes through this line of code and to see how many times it goes through this line of code. So that's what these are. Here I'm initializing my variables, and here I have the output of the variables at the end of the program and a wait for 60 seconds. So I'm just going to run this program really quick, and I want to see how many times it goes through this line of code versus how many times it goes through this line of code when it's set up with one loop. And as we're running this, our robot's moving and is following a line, and then I want to go ahead and push the button and stop this. And then what we're going to see is that it went through the top line of code 3,596 times, and then it went through the exit 3,596 times. So with this little scenario, it goes through both lines of code the exact same amount of times, which makes sense because this loops, it runs this code, and it runs this code, and when both of those are done, then it'll loop, so it's running these the same amount of times. Now, unfortunately, we want this little piece of code with the exit to run as quickly as possible, and it's getting hung up, and it's probably waiting on this line of code because this takes a little bit more. It's got a little bit more math. It's got more things going on. So this one finishes. This one keeps going on. So there's a little period of time here where it's not actually looking to see if it should be exiting. So I'm going to show the same program, and we've got the initializing the variables. We've got the reading the variables and the wait at the end. And then I put each one of these lines of code in another loop. And we've got our little math counting how many times it goes through this one, our little math counting how many times it goes through this loop, and this is just checking to see if the push button's pushed, and this is adjusting our steering, and again I didn't connect to our steering block. And now we're going to go ahead and run this and see if we get any difference. And now as I'm going through and I'm running the program, and it's gone through 25, 26, well, that's less than that. So if I stop this code, and I look at the numbers, oh, I shouldn't have pushed the stop button. I should have pushed my little button. Haha. So we'll go ahead and run it again. And just run for a little while. And keep running. You can see it's running the bottom line a lot more times than it's running the top line because there's more code in the top line. So I'll go ahead and push the button, and now it's here. And we can see the follow the line, it went through 6,458 times, but the exit, it checked 9,181 times. So with this code, we actually have a little bit better piece of code because it's checking the exit more often. So if you were using this to stop at a certain distance with the number of rotations of the wheel, you're going to be able to stop more accurately because it's checking it more accurately when you're using code with these little loops inside of each other. So that's one way that we could possibly make the program a little bit more accurate when you're like trying to go an accurate distance on with your EV3. Also, like I talked about in my previous video, we got a loop interrupter with number 1, and that's loop 1 and a loop 1 and loop 1. And in this case, I actually want to exit not only this loop but also this loop. So it's good that I kept these all named the same. So when it hits this loop interrupter, it comes out of all of the loops. So that's just a little bit different way you can make your program and get a little bit more accuracy out of when your robot should stop loops if you've got multitasking going on with things like following the line or using the gyro to go straight. So I hope this helps you make your robot just a little bit more accurate, and have a good day.